Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use Nmap. My name is Ashish and this channel is all about showing you how to become a highly paid IT pro, and that too very fast. So let's get started. We'll cover a lot of things about Nmap in this video. So we'll talk about the introduction to Nmap, then we will also talk about what is the need of using Nmap. Then Nmap also has a GUI version, which is the graphical user interface version, which is called ZenMap. We'll get into a little bit of detail about that. Then we'll run various kind of scans, such as the default scan, service scan, scanning a single system, scanning a range of IP addresses, scanning for a specific port, and scanning for a range of ports. We'll also do a ping sweep and ping agnostic scan. We'll also scan for the UDP services, and then we'll also do operating system detection. And then towards the end of the video, we'll also talk about the Nmap scripting engine. We'll also see what kind of scripts are readily available with Nmap, and we'll then towards the very end we'll also use some of the Nmap scripts. So let's go ahead and start with the introduction to Nmap. Now Nmap stands for Network Mapper. Now this is a free tool. It is open source, which is downloadable from nmap.org. You can go ahead and download it from there. And this tool can be used for various purposes. So it could be used for vulnerability scanning. It could be used for network discovery. It could also be used to find live hosts on a network, perform port scanning, ping sweeps, operating system detection, and the version detection of the services that are running. And more than that, you can also do a lot of scrutiny of your network, and in terms of finding out what is there, what is not, how many systems are live on the network at present. And a lot of penetration testers and ethical hackers do also use this tool to find out a lot of vulnerabilities that are there within this applications or the services or the operating systems that are running. Now, when we are talking about the GUI version versus the command line version, by default, Kali has the command line version. But you can also download from nmap.org. You can download the GUI version, which is called the ZenMap. Now, ZenMap is basically a graphical environment which embeds the Nmap commands. So all you have to do is define the target in the target text box or the drop down list, and then you have to choose a profile, which is the type of scan you want to do, and that's it. That is all you need to do, and you can hit the scan button after that. Notice that the moment you choose the target and choose a profile, the command text box automatically embeds a the command text box creates the command for you to run. So once you click on scan, now notice that there are a lot of tabs that are available on the bottom section. So these are the tabs which will give you the details once the command stops running, once the command is finished executing. So you will start to get a lot of details about a particular host or the range of hosts. So now in the target, when you're defining that, you can define a single IP address, you can define a host name, you can also define a range of IP addresses or a particular subnet. So you have various options that you can do. So that is pretty much it for the graphical version. But remember that it can be used by the people who don't want to use the command line. So a lot of people end up using that, but the experienced people would not prefer to use ZenMap. They would rather go for the command line version. So now I'm just going to go ahead and invoke the command prompts, which is the terminal window. So here, all you need to do is simply type the command nmap, and once I hit enter, I get a lot of details about the nmap command. Now this particular nmap command has a lot of parameters that you can use. So go ahead and use some of these before I proceed further. So I am just going to go ahead and use the one command which is there in the example section. So this is nmap-v-a in uppercase and then scanme.nmap.org. So I am just going to go ahead and type this and let's see. So this command now gets triggered. It starts to scan the scanme.nmap.org. So it's already started to discover open ports. So there is port 22 that is open. There is port 80 that is open. And notice that it is also detecting the IP address of the host. So this is what this command is going to do for you. Then it has also detected another port which is 313379929, and now this is going to start the service scan. So once the service scan is finished, it will give you a list of services that are running. So there might be a possibility that it may not detect any service, but that is quite unlikely. So let's just wait and watch for a few seconds. So there you go. So it's found the HTTP service, it's found the FTP it's found the SSH service, which is the open SSH, that is 6.6.1, that is running on the Ubuntu platform. So now this is all the details that it has been able to find. So we are just going to go ahead and move further and move to the next command. So let's just run a default scan. So now if you do not specify any parameter, you just specify only the target along with the nmap command, by default it should be running a default scan. So I'm just going to go ahead and type this command, nmap scanme.nmap.org. Now by default nmap is supposed to use the synscan as the default scan type, but because we are not using the root privileges, therefore nmap will only use the connect scan in this context. So there you go. So let's see what happens once we hit enter on this particular command. So it should take a minute or so to give you the output. You have to remember, in certain commands, if you do not use the administrative privileges, you will be able to only use the connect scan. The command will run, but it will give you only the limited output. Now, notice that it has found a lot of ports. So these were the ports that we encountered in the previous scan as well. So there is port 22, there is port 80, there is port 9929, and then there is port 31337, which is open for something called Elite. And 9929 is nping-echo, 80 is HTTP, 22 is for SSH. And it scanned one IP address. So this is because we have given only the host name. So it is only able to scan one particular IP address or one particular host. So now let's do a service scan this time. Now when we are going to do a service scan, we need to ensure that nmap has the target IP address or the range or the domain name. You have to have a target when you are executing the nmap command. However, so before we go into more explanation, let's just go ahead and type this particular command. Now, notice that now I'm not going to be scanning scanmap. So let me just change this particular IP. So I'm going to do scanme.nmap.org. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be scanning for the service scan this particular time. So it's going to take a little while before it can provide the results. One of the reason is it depends on your network bandwidth also. Secondly, how busy that host is. And of course, this host is present on the internet. So it is going to take a little while before the output can be returned back to us. So there you go. So this is exactly what we had seen in the previous or the first command that we ran. So port 80, port 22, 9929, 31337. Now these are the services that are running and the ports that are open. Then you have the operating system as Linux, and then it is also giving some detail about the Linux kernel. So now this -s in lowercase and v in uppercase does the service detection perform. So let's now move ahead and do another level of scanning. So this time we are going to scan only a single system, and we are not going to use any particular parameter. So we will just say nmap and the IP address. And this can also be done with nmap and the host name. So there you go. Now this 192.168.80.130 is the IP address of the B box that is running on the different tab of the VMware environment. So this is the IP address of this particular system. Now this is a intentionally vulnerable system, so therefore a lot of ports are open. So this is one reason why you see port 21, 22, 25, 80, 139 and so on. So there are about 12, 14 ports that are open, and some of them, something like port 21 is a pretty much vulnerable port and it can be hacked pretty easily. And then there is port 80 also. Then there is a lot of other ports like directory services, then 512 for exec and 513 for login, 514 for shell. So a lot of these ports are open. Now, this is what you can do with the command if you want to scan for a single host. Now let's do a scanning for a particular range of IP addresses. But we only have one system. But in any case, I will show you how to basically scan for a particular range. So I'm going to type 192. So I'm going to just say 100. So what you have to do is you have to put the first and the last IP address of the range and put a dash in between. So here I want to scan from IP address 1 till 100. So once we do that, I just simply press enter. So again, this command is going to take a little bit while. Now the host machine has Bitdefender antivirus, so it is basically alarming me that there is a port scan that has been detected. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that notification, which is fine. So this means at least my host system is pretty much updated with any kind of port scan if it is performed on it. So it can catch. So let's just ignore that notification for the time being. But remember, these kind of commands, if you are trying to run on live systems without letting their owners know, they're most likely going to get the notifications. So you have to watch out for such notifications, because it will be considered a crime if you do not let the owners know that you are doing this kind of work. So you have to watch out for that. It might be that if you are not letting the administrator know, or if you yourself is not the administrator and you run this command on a live network, chances are that people are going to inform this to the security team or the IT team, and therefore they might track you down. So therefore you have to be just a little more cautious. So this is going to take a little while, so we'll just have to wait before the output of this command is returned. And because it is a long range of IP addresses, so it is trying to check if all these IP addresses are available on the network. So 80.1 is the IP address of the host machine, as far as I remember. So therefore I got an intimation that your port scan is there on your system. So we just ignored that for the time being. So let's see if it takes a little more while. So we'll have to terminate this command, and then we'll shorten the range to maybe 5 systems and see if it can quickly turn around that output. You have to remember, shorter the range, faster the results. If you put a entire subnet of 255, 254 systems, then of course it's going to take a long time, because it's going to go to each IP address and trying to ping on the network and trying to find that output. Now, that is exactly what it seems to be doing in the back end. And if any of these IP addresses are found on one of the live systems, then it has to ping that system and get the result output. So let's see what is happening. So it is saying still 52 seconds remaining. So out of this, if you notice this, it's done 98 hosts. It found 2 hosts up and 2 are undergoing the connect scan. Remember what I said in the beginning of the video. Because I am not using the administrative privileges, so therefore it is only going to do a connect scan. It is not going to do a SYN scan. So we will learn about the SYN later on, but it seems to be doing only the connect scan. So the time seems to be going up. It's about 78.38% done. So let's just wait for a little more while and see. Okay, it seems to be progressing slowly, but at least it is doing something in the back end, and it is giving us the exact percentage of the scan that has been completed. So we'll have to just, I guess, wait. I don't want to terminate the command in between, because 3/4 of it is already done. So let's just wait. So meanwhile, this is doing the remaining bit of it. So in the next command, what we'll do is we will not scan the entire range of IP addresses. What we'll do is we will scan only the specific hosts, but we will scan multiple specific hosts in one single command. So that will probably speed up the output and give us the desired output, and say, okay, these were only 2 or 3 systems which I had to scan. So I didn't have to scan a whole range of IP addresses. So we will do multiple host scanning in the next command, but it will be just about 3 IP addresses. So it would be 192.168.80.1, 80.2, and then we'll do 80.130, which is the IP address of the B box. So let's wait. Now this is taking pretty much a long time. So it's gone up to 1 minute 15 seconds remaining. So let's just hold on for some time. So notice this, its expected time to closure has been pretty much just about the same. Initially it was 1 minute 39 seconds, and then it went up to 1 minute 40 seconds and 1:41. So if I just press enter and see what is the latest progress, so it's gone up to 1 minute 42 seconds. And it's about 82.15% done. So we are pretty much there. So I think we'll just hold on a little bit more to understand what kind of output it is going to give us. And of course, going forward, we'll be doing a lot of different types of scans. So we'll scan for different ports, we'll scan for a series of ports, we'll also scan for UDP services, we'll do a ping agnostic scan, we'll also do an entire subnet scan. Rather than just giving a range of IP addresses, we will do a ping scan. We'll also do service scan, and we'll do aggressive service scan. We'll do banner grabbing and see what it gives us. And then somewhere we'll also increase the verbosity of the output that the command can give us. So there is a lot of things that are coming up. So stay tuned. Don't get bored by this because it is taking a lot of time. You need to develop a lot of patience, because when you are going to be doing these kind of scans, some things will take 5 minutes, some things will take like 30 seconds, some will take 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And of course, if you are handling a large network, then you'll have to scan different subnets. So a lot of patience is required when you are doing this kind of stuff, because nothing, or rather not everything, can be instant. So stay tuned. We are almost there. Okay, another 15% to go. And let's see how much more time it takes. And meanwhile, what I can tell you is, in the next command, what we'll do is we'll scan for specific port, then we'll do a range of ports, and then if you are aware, there are total of 65,535 ports, and we'll do a scan of all these ports on this particular system and see what the output is. So quite interesting stuff coming up. So just stay tuned for a little more while, and this particular command should be done and over with. So, I mean, somewhere I also feel like terminating this command because it's taking a lot of time, but I guess it is better to wait and watch and get the output. So let's see what else. Okay, 13% to go. That's not bad. So we'll have to just keep waiting. I think it's now picking up the speed a little bit. So I'm going to just continue to press enter and see how it is picking up, how much percentage it is doing at one point of time. So it seems to be doing 0.10% with every enter that I press, near about 10%. So let's just, now this is done 12% this time, 8%. So average is about 0.10%. Okay, this is time is done 17. Okay, that's another 0.16%. That's another 0.17%. So it seems to picking up the speed now towards the end. Another 0.13%. Another 0.9%. 0.10. 0.11. Okay, so it seems to be now picking up speed a little bit. Most often you would find this kind of thing getting, a little bit boring, but as the IT professional, if we are onto this kind of job, we have no better option but to sit and watch what is happening. So in this video, not only you are learning to run the nmap command, but I think you will also learn to develop a little bit of patience, because you will have to eventually go through all this when you're running these commands. So it's better to develop the patience while you're learning. So it would be good. I think we are doing two things at once. Not only we are running the command or learning how to run a particular command, but we also waiting and watching what is happening, what is the output that is coming out. So we've been waiting for, I think, about 5-6 minutes now, and another maybe 1 or 2 more minutes it's going to take. So I'm just going to wait for a little while before I press enter, so at least I should be able to see about 95% done. But it's good. You have to understand what is the output that it is showing, what is the time it is taking, and it could be because I have done a long range of IP addresses. Maybe you would want to speed up things by shortening the range of IP addresses, so the output is much faster. So that way, okay, it's done only 1% since last enter. So it depends how many systems you need to scan. So if you're handling only a small network of 50 computers and it's a single subnet, then it's a different ball game altogether. But if it is an enterprise network where you have maybe several subnets, then there are different range of IP addresses and you have to scan all of them, then trust me, it's going to be an entire day's job. So you'll have to sit down and start executing these commands and find out what's there and what's not, which system is live, which is not. So that will take a long time. So and of course there are a lot of scripts that are available that you can use to find out a lot of information about the systems that are on the network. So we'll use some of these scripts while we are moving towards the end of the video. And once we do that, we will see, you simply execute one script and rest the script will do on its own. And these scripts are properly written programs in the form of a script, and you can actually open them going into a notepad and finding out what all is mentioned in a script. So that can be done. So almost there, 95%, nearly 95%. So a lot of people who are experienced in doing scripting, so they write their own script, so they don't have to sit and do one subnet at a time. So they can simply, feed all that information in one single script and just execute that script, and rest, everything happens automatically. But that comes with experience. You need to know a little bit of programming to be able to write a script. Otherwise, it becomes difficult for a non-programmer to write a script. Or other option is you find it on the internet, just tweak it a little bit. Basically, what you would have to do is change the IP addresses, because somebody would have written that script based on the IP addresses or the network subnets they have. So you'll have to change accordingly, and you will have to enter your own or replace those subnets with your own IP subnet schema. So once you do that, you can test out the script, and hopefully that should do the job. Now, scripts will make your life a lot easier, and the reason I'm saying easier is because you don't have to sit in front of the screen. You just execute it, and once it is done executing, then it will throw out the results. And that is something that you will have to analyze, because running a command is not a big deal. You can find a million commands on the internet. Or not million, but you can find hundreds of nmap commands on the internet. But the thing is, what is more critical is that do you know how to analyze the output? Because that is where it will make a difference. If you can't analyze the output, running a command has no meaning at all. So you need to be very sure that whatever the output is coming out, you should be able to determine what is happening. Like for instance, in one of the previous commands, we found FTP port to be open. Now, FTP is nowadays is considered a pretty dangerous thing, because for one reason that it does not, when you log in into an FTP server, it does not accept the username password in an encrypted form. It is mostly in the clear text. So therefore, anybody who's doing network sniffing can capture your credentials and get into your FTP account. Same thing happens with the Telnet, which also uses the clear text. So you'll have to understand these kind of things from the the knowledge you have, the experience you have, and figure out why FTP should be left open, why should it not be left open, why should SSH be left open and not closed. And if there is a Telnet and SSH both are running, then why should I close Telnet but not SSH? So you will have to do that kind of analysis based on the output that is there and figure out how do I make the best use of the output that I have received. So that is where it will make a difference. That is how you will learn to analyze and make more changes in your network based on the output that you receive from here. So for instance, you know that you only have 50 systems on the network, but you have detected some 52 IP addresses. So obviously there are 2 devices which are not in your notice. So what do? How do you track those? What kind of services or the ports are running on that particular device or both the devices? So you have to make decisions based on the output that you receive. So here you go, 99.80% done. Okay. All right. So there you go. It says, so there is one that is up, and then there is 80.2 that is up. So it's got 99 closed ports and 80.1 has got filtered ports. And the only port that is open is 139, that is NetBIOS SSN, and 53, which is the DNS port number. So this is the output that we got. So I think it was worth waiting for this kind of output. So let me just clear the screen so that we can move to the top of the command window. So I am going to now scan different set of IP addresses. So I'm not going to do the range. I am going to You must have wondered why that previous scan did not include 130, because we had given a range from 1 till 100. If I would have given a range from 1 till 130, then it would have included and we would have seen a little bit different output. We would have found a lot of ports that would have been open. So let's just run the scan without any parameter for only these 3 IP addresses. And let's see how much time it takes. Okay. So it found only 2 IP addresses to be up, that is 2. So it's finding that is the filtered domain or the DNS port number. Then for 130, it is finding so many ports that are open. So now, once we know how to do a scan for multiple hosts, so I'm just going to clear out the screen and then let's find specific ports for this particular IP address, which is the IP address of the B box. So this is the way you can search for specific ports. So you'll have to give the -p parameter, and then you have to list down the port numbers. Make sure that they are separated by comma and there is no space in between. And then there is the target system, which is the B box. So the moment I press enter, and it gives me a status that all these 3 ports are open. So similarly, you can scan for multiple other ports. So let's see what else. Now let's do a range of ports. And when we are talking about the range of ports, so I'm going to do, again, we'll use the same parameter, and then we'll say 1-100, 192, 168, 80.130, which is again the IP address of the B-box system. There you go. So it's got, now in the first 100 ports, it's got 4 ports open, 21, 22, 25 and 80. Now let's move ahead. Using the same parameter, I am going to scan for the range of all 65,535 ports. Notice that I have put a dash before and after P. So this will help us scan the entire range of ports. So let's see what happens after this. Okay, so there you go. So there are again, these are the 12, 13 ports that we had seen earlier. All right, so these are some ways you can scan for ports. And now moving ahead, first let me just clear the screen. And now we will do a ping sweep. All right, so mostly you would run a full scan using Nmap, but sometimes it is not necessary. And sometimes you just want to check whether the system is alive or not. And that can be done only with the ping sweep command. So which is basically the -SN parameter. So if you want to just do a quick ping sweep command and not check for anything else, and you just want to verify whether the system is alive or not, so you just simply do the -S parameter with SN, with the Nmap, sorry. So there you go. So it says the host is up. So it's been able to detect that host as live. So now, so you can also do this for the entire subnet. So let's check it out. So again, the target, the way you will define the entire subnet target is the same. 1-254, that is the last IP address of the subnet. And we'll see another method using which you can scan a whole range of subnets. There you go. So it's found, that is the IP address 2. 129 is the IP address of the Kali system which we are using, and 130 is the IP address of the B-box. Now let's do another thing, and without any parameter, let's just do 192.168.80.0/24. Let's see if this command works. So it will scan the entire 80 subnet. So notice that it's found 129. It's found 2, and then it is showing again the same 53 port, that is filter domain. Ports for 129, which is the Kali Linux, all 1000 ports are closed. And again, we got the same output that we've been receiving from the previous commands for 130, which is the B-box. So now we know how to scan for single IP address, a range of IP address, and the entire subnet in 2 different ways. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear the screen. Now let's do a ping agnostic scan. So I will do -P in caps, N, and then I give the IP address. Now, basically, why would you want to do the ping agnostic scan is because sometimes systems have firewalls on, and therefore if they detect the ping, they block that ping, and therefore you cannot detect what is running on that particular system. And you can avoid running the ping sweep command by using the capital P N parameter. So let's see. So now it's been able to detect. Now we should try this with IP address 2 as well. Okay, so it's able to detect only again one open port, because that is what it is. Now let's clear this screen, and now what we're going to do is we're going to scan the UDP services. Now, unlike the TCP services, which are connection oriented, UDP services are connectionless, and therefore it is pretty difficult to scan them. And when you want to scan for UDP services, you have to ensure that you use the administrative privileges. So you need to do sudo, and then you need to say sudo nmap --su, and then you need to do the IP address. I need to provide the password. Oh, it seems something wrong with the command. So let's just try with one parameter. Okay, so it should work now. Apologies for that double hyphen, my error. So let's see what kind of UDP services it's able to scan. Okay, so this is again going to take a little bit of time. So I think we should wait, because this is the first time we are running a command for UDP services. So I think it is better we wait. It should take around few more minutes and we should be done. I think it's okay. It's showing 13 minutes 55 seconds. So that's going to be quite long. So, okay. So I think we should just terminate this command for the time being. Maybe towards the end, if we have some time, we can try to run this command. So let's now run the Christmas tree scan. So this is one type of scan that you can run in Nmap, and we will see that it uses the -s capital X -T2 192.168.80.130. Now this is a polite scan, because the -T2 higher the value, so it goes up till T5. So if you put a T5, it becomes like, if you put -T4, it becomes aggressive scan, and 5 is like paranoid scan. So we are just going to do a polite scan. Okay, so it requires the root privileges. So okay, so I need to change the -T2 192.168.80.130. Okay. So this is T2 is the polite scan. So we are running that, and now once this command is done, then we'll do an aggressive Christmas tree scan, and that should be with the hyphen T4 parameter. Okay. So let this command run. Again, it's going to take a little bit time because it is supposed to be polite, so it does scanning at a very low speed, slow speed, and then once we do the aggressive, it should be much faster. So it's showing about 6 minutes, 16 seconds remaining, but I'm pretty sure it will do the job much faster. And after this, we will be running the aggressive Christmas tree scan, and then we will see what other commands. So we will also do a command with the various other parameters. So we'll do the operating system detection, and we'll also do a aggressive service detection. We'll do the banner grabbing, and then we will do other scans like host discovery scan using the ping scan. We will also check out the port states. So there are a lot of other things that are coming up. So stay tuned. Don't lose your patience because it is taking time. So, but that is how it is going to work out in the real life as well. So it is better to hold on and learn this with a lot of patience than, panic and say, okay, this is not something that I want to learn because it's too slow. But a lot of things in the IT industry, specifically in the security industry, will take time. The results will not be instant. So, so we'll also do a scan later on, which is we'll try to scan a host which is protected by a firewall, and let's see what is the output that happens. We'll also do the trace route to a particular host and see from where all the packets have traveled. And so a lot of things are going to be coming up. We'll also set the max tries, retries. We'll also learn how to output these commands into different types of files. Like, so when you run a command, so the output is displayed only on the screen. So learn how to get the output into the text file, XML file, and or maybe all different formats that are available. So stay tuned. We are moving ahead and we have a lot to cover. So let's see. Okay, we are 50% done, little more than 50%, just another few more minutes to go. Okay, almost there. 70%. This is moving pretty fast as compared to the previous command that we had seen. Okay. Oh wow, 80%. Okay, another 1 minute 18 seconds, and we should be done with this command. Okay, less than 10% to go. If you are wondering why this output is getting refreshed, this is because I'm pressing enter. If you don't press the enter, then you will continue to see the static output. So just to ensure that something is happening on the screen, so I'm continuously pressing enter to see the updated output. And there you go, and we are almost done. So there you go. So it's been able to detect again the same set of ports, and notice that this time a slightly different output as well. So it's also detected the MAC address. And what else has it detected? It has done timing, then there is 99.80% done. So this is what it was. So okay, so this is the IP address it scanned. Now the latency is this much, and of course this latency will increase if you're trying to scan an online website or a device that is present on the internet. So it's saying there are 983 ports closed, and then it also gives you the list of list of ports as well as the MAC address. And then it says one IP address is up and running. Now let's run the same command with Paranoid. We'll do the same scan, same Christmas tree scan, but this will be the aggressive scan. So that is with -T for parameter, and let's see if it makes a difference. It is supposed to be faster. There you go. It took almost only a second. Let's increase the intensity and we'll say T5, which is the Paranoid. As good. Both T4 and T5 are pretty much similar. Now, so let's do another command. This time what we'll do is we'll try to do a operating system detection. All right, so let me just clear out this screen. So operating system detection, I'll use the sudo nmap -o and then the IP address. All right, so other than the default set of ports that it has been displaying, it's got the MAC address, it's got the Linux, it has also got the Linux kernel version, and it also gave us something else, which is the network distance, because both of us are on the same network, so we are not going out of the network and coming back to the system. So it is a direct connectivity between two systems. So therefore there is only one hop. So now let's clear the screen and we'll do a little bit of intensive scan, or rather the aggressive scan. And this is SV version intensity 5 192.168.80.130, and let's see if this command works. So what it is supposed to be doing, it is supposed to be doing an aggressive service detection on this particular system. So let's see what kind of output it shows us. So we are almost done with the output of this particular command, or rather the execution of this command. So let's see how much time does it take. It's showing only 3 seconds, and now it's showing 4 seconds, but we are close to 95% done. So again, let's see what happens after this. All right, so lot of stuff has been detected. Okay, so here you go. Now this is where it makes a difference, as running a command is not the main thing, but what do you do when you get this kind of output? Now, if I am a hacker, I know if this system is running Pro FTPD 1.3.1 or 1.3.1. Now, if there is any kind of vulnerability that is there in this particular application, I can find that vulnerability and try to exploit that on this particular system. So this is where it makes a difference, because you need to know how to interpret. You can also, as a security professional or IT administrator, you can go ahead and find out if there are any kind of vulnerabilities that exist for this particular version, trying to patch them up so that nobody can take advantage or nobody can exploit those vulnerabilities. MySQL 5.0.96. Now, is there any vulnerability? For VNC, is there any vulnerability that exists? So now, other than this, then it's done. Some unrecognized, so what it says is service unrecognized despite returning data. So it might have not been able to find a particular matching service, and then it's given us something on port 60666, and that's it. So basically you have lot of other information that is there. So it gives you like service detection performed. So there is not found port. So a lot of information has been returned as the output. So this command is still running, by the way. So it's not stopped. So it's trying to figure out what to do. So this is because we had increased the intensity, and now it's just going ahead and running this command. So I'm going to terminate this command and now we will run another command. So let me just clear the screen. We'll run the other command using the same parameter. So, but this time I am going to reduce the intensity, and basically we'll do a light banner grabbing. That's it. So it should not take as much time, but let's see. So there you go. So it's been able to find virtually the same information, but it doesn't go into depth. So that is, it's done the banner grabbing. So it's got the host name, operating system, and it has also got the Linux kernel. It's got the MAC address, and it took only 26 seconds to perform this scan. So let's clear this screen. Let's now increase the verbosity of the nmap command and see what we get. So that is done with -v. And -o, if you remember, this was to detect the operating system. There you go. So it gives you a lot of details because we have increased the verbosity. So it is basically giving you a lot of details about the open ports. And then it is also again listing down the open ports. It's giving you the MAC address type. It is device type is general purpose, running the Linux, and then it is basically also telling you that it is one hop, and difficulty for TCP sequence prediction is difficulty is 197, and IP ID sequence generation is all zero. So at this time, I don't think you need to really worry about this unless or until you want to sort of, predict the TCP sequence and change some inside that. Now, we can also do one more thing. So let's just clear the screen. Let's increase the verbosity a little bit more. So hyphen double V. So that's V and another V. So it's got the TCP IP fingerprint as well this time, and it has got more details, uptime for so many days, and then it is also basically telling you raw packet sends this much. So, and this same command can be run like this as well. So you said hyphen V2. So you get the same output. Now let's do a little bit different thing. Let's increase this verbosity to level 3. So okay, pretty much the same output. And what if we do 4 V's? There you go. Read data file from this, OS detection performed, network distance, difficulty 200, up since this time. All right, so pretty much the same information it was able to give us. All right, so this is as much as for the increasing the verbosity of the output. Now let's do a host discovery using the ping scan. So that is done with the hyphen S in lowercase and P in uppercase. So we'll do nmap hyphen S P 192.168.80.130. Or rather, let's do just 5 systems. All right, so it says only one system is up and running. That is 80.2. So that is how you can give a range. So this range could be 1 to 254 as well. But obviously, just remember, longer the range, more time it will take to give you the output. Now, okay, so let's now look at the port state. So we can also find the port state using the nmap hyphen reason and then the IP address. Okay, so there you go. The reason is sync ACK. So that is the output. So the output shows that the reason information of a sync ACK packet using a TTL or time to live frame of 128. So that is what it shows. So let's just go ahead and close this. Now let's display the open ports only. So we displayed the ports, we scanned the range of ports or all 65,535 ports. Now let's scan only the open ports. There you go. So it gives you the exact same state of ports. Okay, so let's do a trace net to a specific device. So I would say nmap hyphen hyphen packet hyphen trace 192.168.80.130, and there you go. Okay, so let's see what happens in this output. Okay, so it's not able to go beyond this point. So here what has happened is TraceNet produced information using ARP to identify 192.168.80.130 and respond with these details back to this particular system, which is .129. Now then a series of packets are sent to this particular system, and basically to detail its approximate location in terms of time from 129 system, which is the Kali system. So this is basically what the output is showing here. So you're trying to basically detect the location of this particular system. And then finally what it does is it gives you a list of open ports. Now let's clear out the screen, and now let's look at it and see if we can sort of trying to run a command on a host that is protected by a firewall. So let's try to do that. So we'll do nmap -s a, and then we will do, let's see, not 280.2. Okay, my bad. So I should remember that I need to use the nmap command. Okay, so what it says is, so it's been able to find that system is up, all right, and then it shows that all ports are unfiltered, and so therefore basically what it is saying is that this particular system is behind the firewall. So let's try 130. All right, so it gives us pretty much the same output. So let's just clear this screen, and so let's do some bit of banner grabbing. Okay, so from the web server that is running on 80.130, which is the B box, so I will type, for the safety purpose, I'll just go ahead and type sudo nmap -s, capital S, -p, and then we define the port number, and then we do -a for banner grabbing, and then we type the IP address. All right, so there you go. So a lot of detail has been taken out, and so it's found the web server, it's found the operating system, and it is also found the header, and the site does not have a title, and the MAC address. Then it's also found the operating system and the operating system details, network hop, and the IP address. So let's just clear this screen. Now let's do a quick scan of, let's do a quick scan using TCP Connect. So do sudo nmap -s, capital T, and then 198.180.130. Okay, so again pretty much the same output, and then we'll do a TCP SYN scan. So instead of hyphen T, we will do hyphen S and capital S and the same IP address. So there you go, another pretty much the same output. Now let's clear the screen and we do the UDP port scan. So let's do the UDP port scan. So the command we will type is sudo nmap -su, and then I will type -p for the ports, then 123, 161, 162, and the IP address, which is the target system IP address. All right, so these are the UDP ports. Notice that the UDP is mentioned here. So these are NTP, SNMP, and SNMP trap ports that are already open. And so this is pretty much it for the UDP ports. And now let's look at what we want to do is we want to basically send the output to a specific file format. So let's do this. So clear the screen. So we do nmap -o n, and then we say nmap.txt. This could be any file name that you decide. So I am basically generating the output into a text file. All right. So it should have created. So notice that it has generated the file name nmap.txt. All right. So that is what it is. So I'm just going to clear the screen. Now same output, I am going to send it out into XML file. So instead of N, I am going to now replace that with X and say XML, nmap.xml, and the same system. So there you go. Now even if I do ls, now there you go, nmap.xml is generated. And then so let's save the result in format of grep. So nmap -o g, and then we say nmap.txt, and then again the same IP addresses. All right, so let's quickly do. All right, so what has it done? Okay, so it's again, overwritten that existing file because we did not change the name of the file. So, and let's clear this. And now we will save the output into all formats. So we do A, then nmap, again the target system. Let's do a ls. So there you go. nmap.gnmap, nmap.nmap, nmap.xml, nmap.txt. So let's just try to read what is there in nmap.txt. So there you go. So it gives whatever it is listed on the screen. It is already listed that in this particular format. Okay. Okay. So now, so there are ways. Sometimes you would want to, do a maximum number of retries to check if a port is open or closed. So now, if the for this particular purpose, you can do -max -retries parameter. Now, if that parameter is set to 0, the packet will be only sent once and no retries will be done. So for instance, if I say -p 21-25 and then I give the IP address of the target system and I say max -retries 0. So it will only send the packets once. That's it. Now, if I increase this to 5, so again I get the same output. But if these ports were live or not, it would have only sent the packet once. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear this screen. And now what I'm going to do is, let's use the host dash timeout parameter, which basically specify the scan to give up host after a specified time. So, and basically the lesser time you specify, the more chances of inaccuracy in scan result. So therefore it is better to increase the time. So what I'm going to do is, I am going to type out this command nmap. I'm going to again use the same ports, and instead of max retries, I am going to say host hyphen timeout 10 millisecond. So I can give the time in millisecond and in seconds and minutes also. So, but here I'm just going to go ahead and give in 10 milliseconds. So there you go. Because this is a system that we've been playing around with, we know that there are definitely open ports. So therefore, we get the definite output. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear the screen. Now this is the time. We have done pretty much a lot of stuff with nmap, and of course you can simply type nmap to get a list. So there are a lot of parameters that you can use, and we have used many of them, but not all, because the time doesn't permit. If we start using every one of them, then it's going to take at least a couple of days before we can wind up this video. And now let's talk about the nmap scripting engine. Sometimes when I try to speak too fast, I mumble. So it is nmap scripting engine. Now basically what it does is it uses a programming language called Lua, and which is a lightweight, fast and interpreted programming language. Now you can design your script in a way that it can give you output. And the reason is because you don't want to be sitting down and executing every command every time. So there are a lot of defined scripts that we will talk about that are available. But other than that, you can design your own script. Now, the role of scripts in nmap is that they come pre-packaged with your system. So when you install Kali, nmap is installed by default, and so are your scripts. So there are a lot of scripts that are already available, and they are meant for different purposes. So the role of scripts in nmap is that you can attempt to authenticate to services. You can broadcast certain protocols to find out whether or they are not listening. You can do brute force attacks like dictionary attacks or brute force attacks, or you can run a set of default scripts against various network services. So these are some of the tasks that can be achieved, and of course there are a lot of categories of scripts that are there, and each one of these categories meant for a specific purpose. So let's talk about different categories that exist in nmap, and each category has certain number of scripts. So first one is the auth. Then there is broadcast, there is brute, default, discovery, denial of service, exploit, external, fuzzer, intrusive, malware, safe, version, and vuln, which is basically known for vulnerabilities. Now, basically before you run the script, you should do one thing, which is run the sudo nmap script and update db command, because it is possible that new scripts would have been released and your database for scripts is outdated. So therefore you would want to update the database. So once you run this command, the script database would get updated. All right, so it says script database updated now successfully. Now let's clear the screen and Let's run the locate. We want to find where the scripts are. There you go. So they are in the, if I simply say ls-l slash usr slash share slash nmap slash scripts. Oh, there is a typo error. Sorry about that. There you go. So these are all the scripts that are there. There are a whole bunch of scripts. I think there are more than 500 scripts that are there. But remember, each script falls into a specific category, and they are sort of, prefixed with their category names. All right, so let's just clear this out. Now it is the time to run the first script. Sudo nmap, and we will not run the first script, but rather we will find the help about a particular script. So it is as good as running. Okay, so I am trying to find the http/headers script. So what kind of script it is? So it says it is discovery safe. We talked about the category safe. Now the safe category has scripts which are basically verified, and they do not cause any harm to the server. So even if you run them on a production server, they will not cause any harm. So sorry. So that is what the safe category is, and HTTP headers falls into that particular category. So now let's sort of, so let's sort of load all HTTP modules in the default scan repository. So we do this sudo nmap, then we define the target web server 130 script, then I would say http -*. So I'm going to load all the HTTP modules or the scripts. So it's going to run against the target 80.130. This might take a little bit time. So nothing to worry, because you're running a whole bunch of scripts against this particular system. So you'll have to be a little patient. So it's nearly 50% done. Less than a minute to go. So meanwhile, the next script that we are going to use is basically, we will see if we can scan with a complete set of scripts. So we are not going to use only a single script, but with a set of scripts against this particular system, which is 80.130. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So let's just wait and watch. And we'll also run a single script so that we know how it is executed. Right now, what we have done is we have sort of, loaded all the HTTP modules in the default scan repository, and therefore it is taking time. So you can do that, but it is not always necessary that you have to run all the scripts at one go. So you can take time and sort of, find out more information by running a single script. And that is exactly what we are going to do in the next command. So I'm going to just terminate this because this is taking too much time. So let's just go ahead and run sudo nmap script is equal to http hyphen title 192.168.80.130. Okay, so let's see what happens. All right, so it says HTTP site does not have a title. Site does not have a title. All right, site title HT400, the plain HTTP request was sent to HTTP port. So it is given us the title. So let's try to run this against scanme.nmap.org. It might take a little time, but it should show us some good output. Okay, so it's about nearly 40% done. Because this site is located on the internet, so it is bound to take a little more time than the system that was on the same subnet. And so let's see. So we will just wait, and we'll run one more command after this with the script http headers, and we will try to get the http headers of web services. So okay, so it's basically giving up because transmission cap hit. So there is a retransmission cap of 10, so it's giving up. So it might not give us all the results. So okay, so let's just go ahead and terminate this because it's going to take more time. So let's just do sudo nmap scripts. Instead of title, I'm going to type headers 192.168.80.130. Let's see. All right. So it's got the HTTP headers. See, this is where it makes a difference, because if you have all this information and you know, okay, if I need to exploit this particular web server, what kind of vulnerabilities it would it have? So I just simply go on the internet, trying to find out the vulnerabilities, and if I find that, you know, if one of these vulnerabilities is unpatched, I can exploit that. And now, okay, so last command for this particular video is nmap. So I'm going to find web applications from known paths. So again, the same thing. So instead of HTTP, I'm going to just type the command enum. Let's see what output it gives. All right. So it's found quite a bit of information which can be useful. So, all right. So potentially interesting folder with directory listing, interesting a README file, my PHP MyAdmin, Adobe Flash cross domain policy, now which probably I guess can be exploited. Interesting directory listing with Apache and a lot of other applications. And then it has a lot of these ports open. Again, then there is Adobe Flash cross domain policy. So realize that now, instead of, you know, running multiple commands to find a piece of information, you are able to just execute one particular script. And remember, the command is pretty simple. So if you have the administrative privileges, you don't need to do anything. Simply type nmap -- script is equal to, and type the script name and the target name. or other than that, if you just want to use the complete set of script, you can simply go ahead and type something like what we had done was, just let me take like this. You can load all these scripts at one go and go ahead and execute them. So it depends what you want to do. But scripts obviously make your life much easier. They give you a lot of output without even having to run multiple commands. So just for this particular video, let's quickly recap what we have done. So we've done a lot of operating system detection. We have done a lot of other stuff like port scanning, a range of port scanning, and then we also found the methods to direct the output into different kind of files, and then we also scanned a single system. We scanned a range of IP address. We scanned a range of ports. We did ping sweep. We did ping agnostic attack. We also scanned for UDP services. And right at the start, we did talk about the difference between the GUI versus the command line version of Nmap. And towards the end, we did talk about the Nmap scripting engine. Thank you very much. You've been very kind listeners. I know some commands have taken more time, but I guess this is how Nmap works, and you need to develop a lot of patience. Thank you very much for being good listeners. Have a good day.